Well, I think it's fair to say that the next two episodes are going to be an exercise in squad rotation. Hello and welcome to part 115 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have two home matches at home against Swindon and Southend. But if you follow me on Twitter, you'll have seen me tweeting about this earlier in the week. The championship schedule, we'll worry about how we've been getting on in a minute. But the championship schedule has gone ridiculous for Christmas. Talk about this for a Christmas present. Boxing Day, December the 26th, we're at home against Southend. The next day, we're at home against Swindon. The next day, we're away against Stevenage. Then, we've got a massive FA Cup third round tie against Premier League Newcastle. But this isn't a result of cancelled fixtures or fixture congestion or anything stupid like that. If we look at the actual championship fixtures, there's a full programme on Boxing Day, there's a full programme on the 27th, and there's a full programme on the 28th as well. So at least we're all in the same boat, but I am a little bit worried that, what are we now, 13 years into this save? We're starting to reach the point where stuff like this happens. This could be about to get crazy, everybody. Talking of crazy, our recent form has been a little bit nuts as well. We've managed to beat Brighton 2-0 and then lose 7-4 against Bristol City. We're very, very mixed form. The important thing is we are still scoring goals and we are still picking up wins here and there. We never expected to maintain a promotion push throughout this season, although, according to the rules that I described to you, I think, last season, about a promotion push, we're about to hit the halfway point of the season, and if we're within 6 points of the top of the league at the halfway point of the season, one of Kev's laws is that means you're still in the title hunt, and with one game to go, if we win this game against Southend, and that's a big if because our form has been so iffy, but if we do, we'll still be within 6 points of Villa at the halfway point of the season, and more importantly, just 1 point outside of the playoffs. And at that point, we might be able to start talking a little bit about what might happen. But for now, we're just focused on these three games and squad rotation, I guess. I've never really been much of a squad rotation kind of guy. I suspect I'm going to be using the rotation options on Quick Pick a little bit to do the basis of a team, because I mean, even on the first one of these, they're not all fit. We've got players going into this first game on 95, 96 condition. We're going to pick up some injuries over these few matches. It's going to be interesting. So today we're going to look at Southend and Swindon, and then tomorrow it'll be Stevenage and Newcastle, because I've got to show you the Stevenage game just to see what kind of mess that's likely to be, what kind of team we're able to put out. And then, of course, we need to show the Newcastle game, because we need the Newcastle game, and ideally we need a draw. We need to go back to St James's Park, because our financial situation is getting pretty iffy. I know now we're back in the Championship, we should be getting that £5 million bunch of cash at the end of the season. But by the end of the season, we're going to be £4 million in debt, apparently. And it doesn't look much better going forward. If we're not going to get the new ground, and it's looking increasingly likely that we're not going to get the new ground, then I think we need to be seriously looking into moving out and going into some kind of ground share with a bigger club who are able to fit more than 6,000 people in. Because at the moment, it still reckons we've got planning permission for the ground, or we're going for planning permission. We still can't ask to increase the stadium or build a new stadium. If that's glitched out and means we can never move on, it's going to be problematic financially. So anyway, this is the team we're putting out there for the first of 3 consecutive daily games. We've got Hugo in goal, a back four of O'Brien, Hughes, Taggart and Ibrahim, with Barber, Barron and Neal in midfield, and Richardson in behind Wheatley and Stainsby. And it has been brought to my attention that yesterday I didn't show you who actually got injured. I talked about my star player being injured and breaking his leg, but then somehow put the wrong screen. I don't even know what past Kev was up to there, but it was Peter Anderson who got injured and he's out for the rest of the season. As you can see, he's got a red leg, and red leg is always a bad thing. He's out for another 5 to 7 months, so that will take him through to the end of the season. So we're not going to see any more of Peter Anderson this season. So we might need to look into investing in another midfielder in the transfer window. Use your words, Kev. In the transfer window that opens after this ridiculous run of games. But anyway, for now, let's get into the game. Kent Wheatley is finally starting to sort of assert himself onto this team with a little bit of form. If we have a look at his recent form, 5 goals in his last 2 matches. Coming back from an injury, it seems that injury has done him the world of good because he's come back a different player. That was his form before injury. That's his form since he's been back. This man needs to get injured more often, especially because I've tried him as a target man and an advanced forward. And he was fine at both. He took the opportunity of being able to get into the team because Chris Ruggles, who is on loan from Brighton, couldn't play against Brighton. So Wheatley came in for him because we're only allowed 5 loan players in the team. And we're a midfielder short, so Tony Barron's playing. It means Ruggles can't push him back out until Wheatley stops scoring. So Ruggles can't even be on the bench. And Wheatley's got a proper opportunity with only Fisher and Afsharian sat there on the bench trying to push him out of the side. What we need today is to not get any injuries. I don't know how much of a good idea our high-tempo pressing game is going to be in this run of games that we're in. It is, whenever stuff like this has happened before, it's usually been later in the season, and it's been because I've had deep Champions League runs and FA Cup runs and stuff like that, and we've just had to get the games played. I've never had it happen this way before. So I don't really know how the AI is going to respond. Is that going to continue to pick the strongest team, in theory, and disregard condition completely? Because it does tend to do that sometimes. If it plays like 2 games in a week, you'll often find that the AI teams have players around 70-80% condition starting games because they don't rest their players, they don't rotate their players. So we could actually find that this run of games is a massive advantage for us because we will be resting players from training throughout this. There'll be no training going on throughout this period. And also we'll be rotating. So as long as they don't rotate too, we might find ourselves at a bit of an advantage with players like Dan Fisher and Ruggles who can come into the team fresh, whereas opposition teams might not freshen their team. I don't know. I'm clutching at straws a little bit. What I'd like is to win these 2 home games. If we win these 2 home games, we're going to go into the new year firmly in the playoff mix. And I think at that point, we're allowed to start saying playoffs in the videos. At the moment, I'm not saying it. I'm just reminding you of a word we're not allowed to say. But if we win both matches on this episode, I'll allow discussion of that as a possibility going forward. And we've already had the thing we don't want to happen twice. Hughes and Stainsby both picking up knocks. And even if they're just the 1 or 2 day knocks that seem to be so popular this year, that's going to rule them out for 3 matches now. Let's have a look at them then. So Hughes has got a lower leg injury. Stainsby has a lower leg injury. Well, they may as well stay on because they're not going to play the next 2 games now. If they, like I say, even if they're just knocks for a couple of days, we're not going to see them tomorrow or the next day. They're just trying to have a bit of a Christmas break. They're both lazy, and we're 1-0 down. I had been noticing in a lot of games that Taggart had been stopping that kind of goal go in as often as it has done previously because he's quick and strong. So the ball over the top that's been such a problem for us previously, he usually takes care of. But here, I mean, he has kept pace with their player, but not quite managed to get the tackle in. So can't win them all, I guess. If we had a couple of defenders like Taggart, then I think the ball over the top would be much less of a threat than it ever has been before. I think he takes a lot of credit for our current league position because he has eliminated a lot of these. But then there's another one. Where's he going to get the tackle in? I mean, he closed the guy down again. It did. I don't know if he had much of an impact on them firing it wide. That he was there. He was keeping pace with him. Right, we're going to make these 2 changes. Get the 2 injured players off. We can't lose the first one. That's just silly. Right, Sawyer and Fisher come on. Blast from the past with those 2 joining the fray. I thought we'd given away a penalty there. Usually when everything just stops, that means that's what's happened. But apparently we just didn't want to defend. Which, I mean, that's great. And it just decided not to defend. We've now reached a point where we're not on the main league table screen without scrolling anymore. It's a sad day. We held on for so long. What it does mean, if we lose this one, we are officially not in the promotion hunt as far as I'm concerned, and we can stop talking about it. Not that we've started talking about it, because we're not allowed to talk about it yet. Right, let's get Denny on, because Denny is a goal threat. So we'll get him on as Carolero. He does score goals from that midfield position. He's done it quite a few times already this season. So let's see if he's got a goal in him in these last 10 minutes. In fact, we're also going to swap over Fisher and Wheatley, because Wheatley got his hat-trick as an advanced forward, and Fisher's spent most of the last 5 seasons playing as a target man. So we'll swap him over for the last 10 minutes. Ibrahim with the cross, bobbles around in the area and somehow finds its way into the net. It's gone down as an own goal. Dan Fisher fired it across goal. I don't know if he did enough for it to count as an assist. He still hasn't broken the all-time record goal scorer record, but as you can see, he's quite happy to just swing his foot around at anything to try and do it. I mean, that was going out for a throw-in, and somehow finds its way into the net. It's 1-1, and if we can grab a winner here, then the forbidden phrase is allowed. But there's no highlight, apparently, and we're into the last 2 seconds. It is just going to be a draw, which means we are 8 points away from Aston Villa. We're not allowed to talk about promotion this season until it happens. Right, now we're going to fast forward a day to tomorrow's match. So Michael Neal is injured. Ollie Stainsby is injured. Brandon Hughes is injured. Did I not say the one thing we need is to avoid injuries? We've picked up an injury in each position. Brilliant. Rotation is on, everybody. I can't even keep track of how many changes I've made there. So we'll just go through the team again. This time we're going with Hugo in goal, which we did last time too. Different back four though. Taylor, an injured Hughes, because Taggart is more tired than Hughes is, despite being injured. With Sawyer and Ibrahim. Lenton, Ball and Denny are the midfield, with Russell in behind Ruggles and Wheatley. So this is the front two that got 4 goals in the 7-4 defeat that we had the other day. So hopefully they've got goals in them as a combination again. I am a little bit terrified about a back four that doesn't include Tommy Taggart. It's the first time this season that he's not started for us at the back. And I am afraid, especially with Hughes injured as well. But we've got another game tomorrow, so we have to think ahead to that. And hopefully Taggart's fit for tomorrow, because presumably Hughes isn't going to be when he's already playing injured today. Wheatley also looks like he's struggling a little bit. It looks like Swindon have done a similar thing to me, where they've got a couple of players in their team who are down around the 70-80% condition mark, but most of the team are up in the 90s, so it suggests they've probably rotated quite heavily as well. So fitness isn't going to be a thing that helps us. It's all going to come down to squad depth. So we're ruined, basically, because we don't have any squad depth, and Swindon are owned by a billionaire and spend millions every summer. Taylor tries to cross towards Wheatley, but can't find him. It falls to Lenton, who tries to play Ruggles in. A fresh Ruggles, remember. Fresh Lenton as well. Russell, who was also fresh. Freshness all around, everybody. And it's 1-0 to Nuneaton. James Russell, he hasn't started a game for ages, but comes into the team today and scores a nice little goal. I'm not convinced about that player at all. I don't imagine we'll be renewing his contract at the end of the season. But for today, I hope you can't hear me. Today, he's putting up an important goal, and it's part of hopefully an important performance. And he might convince me that he should be part of the team a little bit more often. We've obviously got Ball and Richardson, who can both play as attacking midfielders. Hugo keeps hold of it. Hugo's enjoying having a little run in the team again. We were playing Wade for a little while, but then he conceded 7 goals. So we decided to bring Hugo back in. Lenton now. Forward to Russell. Russell back to Lenton again. And it's with Denny, and Denny peppering the goal from long range. I told you that. I told you there were goals in him. Just that wasn't one of them. And Josh Sawyer puts us 2-0 up after 15 minutes. And it's Russell with the assist. James Russell is on a goal and an assist, everybody. We might have a new hero emerging. It's a lovely header from Sawyer as well. Good corner. Sawyer didn't even have to jump. So I don't know how much you can put it down to good corner, good header, and how much of it is just terrible marking for your big centre-back to not even have to jump to head it into the goal. It's just landed on his head and he's deflected it into the goal. But we're certainly not going to complain. Our players did what was expected of them. If Swindon were rubbish as part of that, then so be it. Wheatley forces another corner, and hopefully it's going to be as poorly defended as the last one. It's Denny to take this one, floats it in, and it's just a poor corner, but it falls to Russell again, and it's with Ball. Ball out to Denny, who stayed wide and is tackled. And that's the end of the highlight. Splendid. We need to keep an eye on Hughes. His conditioning is falling rapidly. Not as rapidly as this fella in Swindon's team, though. So as long as Hughes isn't the most tired and injured player on the pitch, as far as I'm concerned, he can stay on. He's a big old centre-back. Centre-backs are supposed to be able to play injured. All they have to do is stand there and head the ball. This might be why our defence is so poor. That is my definition of a centre-back. Big lad who can head it a long way. Sometimes might need to kick it a long way too. Doesn't need to be mobile though. He's only a centre-back. Right, Wheatley, very deep, as is Ruggles, but they're working it between the two of them and pushing forward, and then Ruggles gets tackled. But he's closing down the keeper. Use your words, Kev. And Swindon are on the break again. It's end-to-end stuff here, presumably because this is tiredness setting in already. And Taylor with the ball over the top for Ruggles to chase. Fresh Ruggles, everybody. Wheatley heads it straight at their goalkeeper, who's called Blot Sainer. Don't have anything to say about that, just thought it warranted a mention. And we go into half-time and Hughes is shattered. Mind you, so is Wheatley. I don't know how long I think both Hughes and Wheatley are going to come off at the hour mark. We're going to keep them on just for another 15 minutes. I don't want to give Tommy Taggart a full half when we're trying to get him fit for tomorrow. What a ridiculous situation we've got ourselves in. Made worse by the fact we only have 3 decent centre-backs as well, which is a problem. I don't know if anyone noticed. Have we played Stevenage yet, or is that the next one? Because James Laskowski, when we played Stevenage earlier in the season, started for them. He's playing regularly in the Championship for Stevenage. Kind of think like we probably should have kept hold of him. Let him go because decided he wasn't good enough, in the same vein as the likes of Anderson and who else? Lee Weaver and all these other players who are now playing a division or 2 below us. But Laskowski's just carried on and he's just a regular starter in the Championship for Stevenage. So he's probably one we maybe let go of a little bit too soon. And certainly in a situation like this, it would have been handy to have a 4th Championship quality centre-back knocking around the squad, especially one who'd been with us since Conference North because of the romance. Right, changes. Hughes has to come off now, and Taggart comes on, and then we're also going to take off Wheatley and bring on Afsharian, and that will do for now. Trying to keep Dan Fisher fresh, because I think he's probably going to start tomorrow. I'm thinking probably Ruggles and Fisher, unless Stainsby's fit again, because Wheatley looks done now. But, you know, maybe Afsharian will come on and be brilliant, or maybe Stainsby will be fit and we'll go with him. Right, it's a bit early to make the final change. Let's give it another 5 minutes. I don't want to throw a good position away, but we're not good enough to hold on to it. Russell is in behind again, crosses, and it's another own goal. We've got luck with us today, everybody. Goodness me, do we need it as well. But a little bit of luck puts us 2 goals ahead again. It's 3-1 on the 70-minute mark, and as it stands right now, forget the league table. It's not important. What is important is that if it ends like this, we're going to be on 38 points after 24 games, 4 more wins, and we've hit the 50-point safety barrier. And, you know, we could potentially do that by mid-January, and then I'll allow us to start talking about promotion again. It's still banned right now, but if we hit 50 points in January, then we start talking about it. Right, Denny is tired. Let's get Alex Hughes on for Denny. He's not a very attacking midfielder. We don't really have a Mazzala. We could change the player roll up, but you know that I'm not going to do that. So we'll just play Lenton out there, out of position, and he can like it. Taggart heads down to Lenton, that's a beautiful pass to Ruggles, and Ruggles is fouled. We've got a penalty. It's James Ball with the opportunity to put us 4-1 up on 83 minutes. Can he tuck it away? Come on, James. Come on. He does exactly that. And we've just shown that we're just nonsense again, because Southend are down in the relegation zone and we laboured to a draw against them. Swindon were above us in the league and we've thumped them. So I don't understand Football Manager any more than you do. Some of you would argue I understand it less than you do. Although I've noticed comment section been a little quiet this week. Where's the Kev you need to spend on Defence Brigade? I'd love to chat now. Because look where we are in the league. It's Christmas. Look where we are in the league. Feels like Christmas. But I'd love for you all to come and have a little chat about it. But no, you'll wait until we start losing again. Then you'll be back. Russell. Lovely pass again to Ruggles. And Ruggles misses. I tell you what, James Russell has had a cracking game today. He's on a 9. He's going to be man of the match. A goal and an assist. And he has just looked lively and dangerous. I don't know if he's going to be fit enough to play tomorrow because he looks as tired as everybody else. And we've got Richardson who hasn't played in either of these games yet. So presumably, unless he bangs his head on the dugout celebrating the 5th goal, then Richardson is probably going to be in the team tomorrow. But James Russell has done his chances of further football no harm at all with his performance today. And Taylor with a good tackle, and it finishes 4-1. We finish the episode in 7th place in the league, so just outside the price that we're not talking about. We're inside the price that we're not talking about. We're not talking about them until we hit 50 points. They don't exist at the moment. 50 points is the goal, and we will continue pushing towards that goal tomorrow. Literally. Like tomorrow for you, tomorrow for us as well. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.